you never know. Beyond that, I mean, you listen to his own words. What did he say? He said, people watch you, people follow you. Why are you wearing, how much did you say it was?
Well, $60,000 worth.
Listen,
Yeah.
it's your God-given right to wear $60,000 worth of jewelry if you can afford it. But Jesus Christ, why would you, and I'm sorry.
Why you got to say
offend
the
anybody
Lord's,
by say JC? I'm
Lord's
sorry.
name in vain.
I'm
You're
sorry.
a freaking heathen.
I'm
I went
sorry.
to church yesterday, too. That's
Yeah,
it.
I know, I saw that. But, okay, so taking
No, I
Jesus
get it.
out of it, why would you walk around with $60,000 worth of jewelry? Why?
He's not the only one. I mean, but the bigger point is, listen, they have the money. They're going to do it. Rappers, I mean, musicians, movie stars, they all do it. You have to be aware of your surroundings. I tell victims that all the time. When you're leaving the shopping center, if you're leaving the grocery store, man, can you just scan? I mean, I guess because I was a cop for over 20 years, I'm paranoid. And listen, I think I can defend myself pretty good. I know I am always looking at my surroundings. Like everywhere I go, I do that. I guess that's just not just the training, but the, what's the word I want? The
situational awareness.
Situational awareness, but just, always a nervous Nelly when it comes to that stuff. Just always looking at my surroundings. I just am. But everyone can do that.
Yeah.
You just have to. Like my mom, I'll tell my mom. Like my mom's 80 years old. I mean, she's got a really nice wedding ring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That she's had for years. I'm like, Mom, pay attention to what you're doing. She doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, the big purse. I mean, you got to wrap it around your body. I mean, there's certain things you can do, and he knows you have to. And then plus, if you make the money like he does, I guess it's not feasible to have security with you all the time, right?
No,
it's certain circumstances you could probably hire. You know what I mean? If you feel inclined and you have that much property on you, value.
I guess I come to, it's like if it's a special occasion or something, maybe one or 60 grand worth of jewelry. But it's like,
but if you're,
I'm not begrudging the guy the fact that he can wear it.
But if you look at your surroundings, right, and you can kind of, the spidey sense comes up and you kind of see it beforehand.
Yeah.
That's when you bust ass and you run then.
Yeah.
And then if it's not a robber, the person's like, man, why'd that guy just sprint like that? Oh, well, you got to, you're not getting robbed. So that's all I'm saying.
Try not to make yourself a target, I guess, is what you're trying to say. But
crime's up.
Oh, yeah.
Crime's up.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I get, what year was that?
The 93.
Yeah. Apple Pay wasn't around back then. So I guess you had to walk around with $1,000 in your pocket. I mean, that's like me walking around like $300.
Well, and listen, criminals
like,
today are emboldened because they have this belief, and it's not really a belief. And this happened in San Francisco too. They have a belief that doesn't listen. If I do get caught, number one, which all the police departments, especially in the major cities, they're way down in numbers.
Yep.
Everything's down. Yep. And if I do get caught, I'm going to get out in a day, and I'm going to beat this. So again, no proper punishment for the crime just emboldens people to keep doing it. So
if they
watch your surroundings is what I'm saying.
Don't be a victim. My turn?
Your turn.
All right.
Your turn, sorry.
I'm going back to the nonviolence of theft. Art Monk. Tell me about Art Monk. Do you know that name?
Yeah, Brian's like, hey, you ever heard of Art Monk? Yeah, he's only, I think one of the best receivers that ever played the game. He was Washington back then, Redskin. I know it's Commanders now, but just was part of the fun bunch. A great wide receiver. Played at, a lot of people probably don't even know this, played at Syracuse University. Was an Orangeman. I guess they're the Orange now. I don't think they're Orangemen. Everyone changes their names. I think they're just a Syracuse Orange. But yeah, Art Monk was a phenomenal wide receiver.
So you know him then?
I do. Not personally.
He
but
didn't have
absolutely.
to look that up. That is good. So Art Monk, believe it or not, was actually ripped off by his own teammate. All right, so now I'm going to give you another name.
Let's hear it.
Terry Orr. Did you ever hear Terry Orr?
It sounds familiar. This story, I vaguely remember this story. What year was that? You got the year?
Well, he was. Let me get to the bottom.
Okay,
of it.
go.
It's in the early 2000s, I would say. Right, so late 90s, early 2000s. This guy Terry Orr apparently thought he was going to be the next Steve Madden or whatever. Is it Madden the shoes?
I think so. Right? I don't really
Wolf
know.
Of Wall Street. Remember Steve Madden, right?
Yeah,
I think. So he had a shoe company, this Terry Orr, and he got his teammates to invest $50,000. Right? Again, it doesn't sound like that much, but
but just to stop it, so he finished playing. He played, just so you know,
who we
before you
about?
go, Art Monk.
Okay.
So Syracuse, drafted in 1980, first round pick, Played for Washington from 1980 to 93,
Okay.
bulk of his career. Then he played for the Jets 1 year in 94, and then finished with the Eagles in 95. I mean, 3-time Super Bowl champion. He's a Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's that good. So,
Played with the Jets in '94.
yeah.
Do you think he knows that McLean? Was that the same time?
Oh, my God, Brian.
What?
McLean played in like the 60s.
Oh, never
70s.
mind then. All right, never mind. I thought you said the '90s.
No, I didn't. Open your ears, jackass.
It's early. I'm tired. Coffee's not helping. Anyway.
So anyway, go ahead. So this was probably in the mid 90s, I'm guessing.
Okay. So 50 grand.
Early
I
90s.
guess you got the teammates to kick in 50 grand for the shoe company. So nothing like getting hit up by
How
your
many?
teammate.
How many teammates?
It doesn't say. The research is not that good.
And so it was
doesn't
just to start a shoe company.
Well, it was a failing shoe company. So apparently he took the money, and instead of investing it into the company, he paid off his own personal debt with it.
That's always good.
So I guess that's I would classify
That was that was Shark Tank before Shark
He's the
Tank.
Bernie Madoff of whatever team this is.
He went in there and he looked for a loan. I'll give you
he's at the top of the pyramid, and then
for $50,000. I'll give you 3% equity in my company.
Yeah.
Where's Mark Cuban when you need him?
Can I see these shoes? Can I wear? They're very comfortable.
So then, it obviously, everything folded. They didn't,
well, I mean, he's paying off his own personal debt. So people are like, "Hey, where's my what was it? Was it Casino? Remember Joe Pesci's? They bring the investor, the banker guy in, and he's like, I've been thinking about it, and
I want my money back. And he laughs. He goes, I don't think you understand what I do for a living.
Yeah, Joe Pesci didn't like that.
If I don't have my money tomorrow, I'm going to come down to the bank and I'm going to beat the ever-loving hell out of you. And then when I come out of jail and I don't have my money, I'm going to come do it again. Something like I'm paraphrasing.
That was pretty good. I like that.
Paraphrasing.
So, yeah, every week we quote a mafia movie.
What are you doing? He's a square guy. Leave him alone.
So I don't know if that happened here or not, but apparently the guy got caught, and he got a slap on the wrist here, guilty of defrauding his investors and sentenced to. You ready for this?
Let me hear it.
14 months in prison. So I'm thinking it's probably some white collar kind of place, and hung out for 14 months, got out, and apparently he might have. I don't know if his shoe company was still in business or not, but at least he had something to fall back on when he got out. So. What are you looking up there?
I was just checking some stuff out. Yeah, no,
I'm throwing it to you, and I'm waiting. I'm drowning.
I doubt
over here.
the shoe company's in business or ever was. So the last one I'm going to do, and this is
That's all you got on that? That's it?
what else you want me to say?
I
He
give you
got
all this
defrauded.
stuff
I
on
said
yours.
it was like Shark Tank back in the early '90s before they knew it was Shark Tank, and he paid off his debt.
Look at all the highlights I got on this thing, and that's it. Okay, moving on. Next.
You're gonna tell people. So we we print a lot of stuff, obviously, and doing our research.
This is
so
like the nicest paper
So
I've
we
ever-
ran out of paper, and I pulled this what do you call them? Like a
Ream. It's a
ream.
ream.
Thank you. She read
It's
my
like,
mind.
It's like 500.
So I opened this ream of paper, but
of
it's
paper.
like the thickest. It's like if you went to FedEx and you said, "Hey, I need." I mean, it's thicker than freaking resume paper.
No, this is what you put a resume on. This is nice.
So it may be resume paper,
Nice,
and
yeah.
of course, I print out like 30 or 40 pages. So you're probably holding like $1.50 in your hand right
Yeah,
there.
you spend some. We'll write it off in expenses.
Yeah, we'll write it off.
Yeah.
We lose money every week doing this show, but that's besides the point. We have fun. So my last one, and I mentioned this in the opening, and actually, ironically, we stay on the Washington Redskins. This was Sean Taylor, Commanders. I know. I'm because I'm looking at my notes, and it says Redskins, and I played for them, so that's always what pops in my head. I'm not trying to be offensive. So Sean Taylor, for those that don't know, was an unbelievable player for Washington. Was a free safety. He was great. He played at the University of Miami. So it was just a tragic story. So what happened with him was his house was burglarized.
Okay.
So everyone says robbed. You don't.
No,
you
it's
don't.
not, yeah.
You can't. Let me explain this to people. You don't rob a house. You burglarize a house. If you take something from a person directly, or if the person's in the house and they are aware that you're there and you take something from them, that's a robbery. So you rob people, you burglarize property. Did I say that? Does that make sense Because people screw that up all the time.
Well,
they're like, what do you mean?
It could be an occupied residential burglary. It is if they're not using like usually robbery is
All
like
right, now, I get it. You're going in the weeds now. You're going to confuse people. When someone breaks in your house, let's say you're home and you're sleeping and someone breaks in your house and you wake up and your TV's gone, you were burglarized. You were not robbed, okay? If you wake up during that burglary and you see them and then they put a gun on you and they say, sit down, don't move, you've then been robbed.
Exactly.
That's a home invasion, okay? And if someone comes up to you, like we've talked about, and pulls a gun and you're being robbed. So robbery and burglary, two different things. People interchange them. They don't. This story interchanges it. But anyway, here we go. So Taylor, he was burglarized, okay, in November of 2007 down in South Florida where his house was, okay?
Right.
8 days later, they come back, okay? They assume Sean Taylor wasn't going to be home because Washington was playing a game, okay? They didn't do their research. Sean Taylor was injured, so he didn't travel. He didn't go to that game, so he was home, okay? In fact, he was home with his girlfriend and his baby daughter, okay? He confronted the intruder. So now, this becomes, so the first one was a burglary. This one becomes an armed robbery, home invasion, okay? He confronts them. They freaking shoot him. He gets hit in the femoral artery, and he died a day later. He was 24 years old. I mean, just tragic. 5 men were charged shortly after, and I think it says in the research I did, the gunman actually was 17 years old, Eric Rivera Jr. So he avoided, because we have the death penalty here in Florida, he avoided the death penalty because he was 17, but they caught him. And so I've said this multiple times before. As a robbery detective, there is no, and I will, 20 plus years in experience, I will argue this point with anybody that wants to differ from what I'm going to say here. There is no such thing as a random home invasion. No. They do not exist, okay? You'll get random burglaries, and really, they're not even random either, because people will randomly pick a house to burglarize because the house looks nice or the cars look nice and they think there's good property in it.
They're not breaking into
home invasions. You are not home invasion. And so again, a home invasion is they know they're coming in. They know people are there, and they are going to tie up the people or hold the people at gunpoint, and then they're going to take what they want to take. That is a home invasion. You do not do that unless you know there's something in that house specific that you're targeting, i.e. cash, i.e. lots of jewelry, i.e. drugs. We get a lot of drug rips.
Yeah. Well, most times the home invasions are drug houses, and they do that because
there's a lot of cash and drugs.
There is, but 9 times
and they're not going to call.
They're not going to call the police.
Correct.
Yes.
Although you would be surprised how many drug dealers that get ripped off call the police,
and they'll just leave the drugs out of it. They're like, "Yeah, they sold."
But then you figure it out, and guess what? We still investigate it because we want to find the robbers. But so in Sean Taylor's case, obviously they burglarized him a week earlier. They got good property, good stuff, and they said, "Man, we didn't get everything. Let's go back because I know he's got more, jewelry." Or maybe someone said, "Hey, Sean Taylor carries a lot of cash. It's in his house. He's probably got a safe." They go back. He confronts them. Shot and killed. Life over. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I don't understand the thought process there, because as from a criminal's point of view, it's like if you hit it once, they're going to be on high alert. Like they're going to
again. But they thought they were smart. They thought no one's going to be home. He's playing a game, so he's up there. His family's probably watching the game. No one's going to be home. That's what they thought.
Did they do? I vaguely remember hearing something about this. I don't know if it was a class I took or something. They went over this case.
They may have.
I want to say they did. Somebody. I want to say almost somebody in the group might have known him or like.
Yeah, I don't know, but it wouldn't.
I think
again, it goes to my premise. Someone knows someone, and someone knows what's in there. So I've investigated hundreds of home invasions. I remember one where mom and pop bodega, okay, on the west side of Orlando, okay? Yep. So everything's debit card now, but, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, a lot of cash, right? And just, mom and pop. So the owner of this bodega, he always, at the end of the night, he had cash, whether it's $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and he'd put it in a proverbial, paper bag, and he would leave.
Yeah.
And